This is WVVA in Focus, a weekly program about important issues and events in the two Virginias.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we are putting the spotlight on the 2023 World Association of Marching Bands World Championship. Next year, it's being held right here in West Virginia. It will be held in the city of Buckhannon in Upshur County. Joining me now to share some more information about this big event is Randy Sanders. He's the WAMSB 2023 Buckhannon Host Committee President. He joins us now via Zoom from Buckhannon. So Randy, thank you for joining us.
Melinda, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks.
Absolutely. And this is only the second time in the event's history that this world competition is being held in the U.S., and Buckhannon was chosen as the location. So how exactly was the 2023 destination chosen?
You know, it went all the way back to the year of 2020, actually, when we began the process. And we had learned of the WAMSB competitions that are held throughout the world. And as you said, only once before was it in the United States. It was held in Palm Springs. And Buckhannon, West Virginia has been a host to many, many parades over the years with the West Virginia Strawberry Festival. We know how to put on a big shindig, as they say. So we decided to roll up our sleeves, put together a proposal, present it to the International Committee, and we worked like crazy to get it done. In fact, this is the proposal. It's a pretty thick 48-page proposal that went in, and we went through the process, and here we are.
Well, definitely the work paid off. That's a thick proposal, 48 pages, but hey, all that hard work and effort did pay off to have Buckhannon chosen as the location. We do want to let our viewers know the event will be taking place next year. That's July 17th through the 24th, 2023. And some of the participating countries include Angola, which is located in Southern Africa, El Salvador, Vietnam, Malaysia, Ireland, and many more. So, Randy, how many international participants are expected to be here in West Virginia?
Currently, we're working with a total of 52 bands internationally from 24 different countries. We'll be narrowing that list down, of course. So I would anticipate about 20 to 25 bands, international bands, along with a half a dozen to maybe a dozen domestic bands, many of which will be from West Virginia. Those bands may not be competing, but putting on exhibitions. We really want the Mountain State to be in the spotlight during this event.
And share with us more about what the World Association of Marching Bands is.
Well, it's actually the World Association of Marching Show Bands. So it has been in existence now for quite some time, 30-some years all told. But for 26 years, it's been hosting an international competition. It began with a group of directors, show band directors, who shared a common interest in having an equalized platform for judging in competitions. It's based out of Canada at this point. That's where the president of the international organization lives. And it is on all 6 inhabited continents around the world. They have different representatives working year-round on producing WAMSB certified events.
Right, so let's talk more about the history of WAMSB. And as you mentioned, the first event was held in Canada back in the mid-90s, if I understand that correctly?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk more about that and then how it's just evolved over the years to where we are now.
Well, I think everyone enjoys music, and particularly when you see live performances by bands. And you go from having just a band who is stationary to a show band. We think of it as the band that comes out at intermission at a college game. They put on a performance that really captivates the attendees of that game. You know, and like we have Marshall University, we have West Virginia University, plus other universities around the state that have marvelous bands. But if you've ever been to Morgantown and you see what the WVU band will do at intermission halftime, it's phenomenal. So this takes the bands into a competition area so that they can be scored by professionals that know the business, know musicality, know what the citizenry enjoys when they're watching these performances, and really put pen to paper and make it really a sport. So this is the Super Bowl of marching show bands from around the world.
Yeah, and it's just incredible to think that all these people are going to be coming right here to West Virginia. And you had mentioned it a few minutes ago, Randy, as far as the process to get the city approved to host this event. but what exactly goes into it? Like, what do you have to prove about your location in order for it to be chosen as the place where the event will be held?
We had to show that we could provide the infrastructure, so we worked with West Virginia Wesleyan College as a partner in the event. We also had to show that we could host appropriately bands from all over the world. So we've been working regionally with partners around Central West Virginia, Harrison County, Barber County, Braxton County, Lewis County, Monongahela County, going and just on and on. Braxton has a pretty large hotel. But we're working with the campuses of the different universities that can actually house the competitors. And we just had to show them exactly how it would take place day by day, event by event, to convince them that we could handle this type of international competition. And we were successful in doing that.
And Randy, we touched on this earlier about the number of bands that you're expecting to come and stay there in Buckhannon, but any idea of just how many people that would involve that would be staying in Buckhannon?
Sure. Well, we're actually looking at about 2,500 competitors, maybe as many as 3,000 competitors. They're not all going to be able to stay in Buckhannon. West Virginia Wesleyan can house about 1,100 people on the campus. So we are doing partnerships with other colleges in the Central West Virginia area. Plus, we're working with high schools to try to put some students in gymnasiums, putting in some bunks and so forth, and that'll help reduce their cost, because any of the bands coming in to compete in this international competition, they have to raise their own money to do the travel. They have to raise their own money to cover their housing and their meals while they're here. So it's quite a big event for them as well. I think most of us have had family and local bands and know that if they get invited to the Rose Bowl, they have to raise the money to do that. So if we can house some of them in high school gymnasiums and provide them facilities that is appropriate, they'll be able to save a little bit of money there. So we're going to be using all of Central West Virginia.
Right, and that really does help to have those partners in the area step up to help those individuals who, as you mentioned, are already raising a lot of money just to come here to West Virginia. And what does it mean in the short term economically to have these international visitors right here in the Mountain State in Buckhannon area, and also the long term?
Well, I'm really focused on that, Melinda. I really think that we'll have people coming along with participants themselves, be it parents or other community members, who will be taking a good look at West Virginia. So we're working with Mitch Carmichael with the West Virginia Department of, he's the economic director of the state of West Virginia. Forgive me, I don't have the title quite right. Also, Chelsea Ruby, the Secretary of Tourism, Randall Reese Smith, all of these players with the state of West Virginia that can help us host this event and put a proper spotlight on the state to show folks they may want to bring their business here. They may want to build some business relationships here as a result of the WAMSB event. So I hope that it's a long-term benefit to the state of West Virginia for having this international spotlight.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like the long-term impacts could be just great for the Mountain State. Randy, we have much more to talk about, including some events that our viewers might be interested in. So we'll take a quick break and we'll have more information about that on the other side. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Next year, people from all over the world will be coming here to West Virginia, Buckhannon specifically, in Upshur County and surrounding areas as part of the WAMSB competition coming up next summer in 2023. Joining us once again via Zoom, Randy Sanders. And Randy, there's going to be quite a few events for the community and visitors to enjoy next summer, ranging from a cruise and car show, a singing contest at the Upshur County Courthouse, and more, a parade. Why is it important to have events like these also for everyone to take part in?
Well, again, Buckhannon is really famous for hosting the West Virginia Strawberry Festival. Not that we're going to emulate it completely, but we're going to use some of the things we've learned from hosting that major event every year and utilize it as well in this international presentation. We'll also be attracting a lot of folks from Central West Virginia. They love car shows. They love different types of activities. We'll have the Carnival Gamble Amusement will be joining us again to present that type of atmosphere. A lot of entertainment in Jawbone Park, which has become really a hub of entertainment. in downtown Buckhannon. We'll be presenting entertainment for those who entertain us. So in other words, these folks will be here competing, and they'll be working as any professional, is expected to do. In their off time, we want to bring them into downtown Buckhannon and let them enjoy some entertainment themselves, visit the car show, visit some of the different exhibits that we'll have. So it's really going to be a really wonderful atmosphere for the international community and those from the Central West Virginia area, and even from around the United States that are planning to come in and participate.
And Randy, on a side note, the Strawberry Festival sounds like fun. I guess I didn't realize that Buckhannon was known for that. So when is that normally held?
Well, the West Virginia Strawberry Festival is held annually in May, and it's one of the largest festivals in the state of West Virginia, and it's one of the oldest festivals as well. One of the things that we do well is putting on a parade. We have about a 1.5 mile long parade route, and we'll be doing 2 parades for WAMSB. One will be a parade which will be called March to the Flame, which will be Wednesday during the week of WAMSB, and that'll be the day we have our opening ceremonies. The other will be the Parade of Nations on that Saturday. That Parade of Nations during WAMSB will have more countries represented in that parade than any other parade in the world in 2023.
Wow, that is incredible. And what type of planning does it take to put together an event of this magnitude? I can imagine a lot of planning.
A lot of planning. We've been busy since January of 2021 when we found out we were going to be hosting the event. We're having weekly meetings now with our different committees, rounding up volunteers. We're working on the security aspect of the event itself. So every week we're meeting and working on collective ideas, but every day we have volunteers working on this event, making calls, lining up potential sponsors and participants, and following up on the bands themselves that have registered with us to make sure that they have the assistance they need in planning this international trip.
Yeah, it takes a lot of teamwork to put together something like this, that's for sure. So Randy, share with us more about your role and what it involves and means to be the 2023 Host Committee President.
Well, I work with the city of Buckhannon as a city recorder, which puts me on city council. So I have a position on the council itself. But I'm also a person in my day-to-day life that has produced live events throughout my entire career. So producing a live event is something that's not foreign to me. I look forward to the challenge. So I'm putting those talents that I've managed to amass over the last 40 years or so as a working individual to help my community and help the state of West Virginia pull off something of this magnitude. So it's really something, it's a labor of love for me. We're a 501c3, so all of us working in it are volunteers other than those professionals we hire. Now we do hire obviously professionals for different areas, but they're not on the board or they're not part of the organizing side of things. So it really is wonderful to just see all of this come together and see the different talents come together and work as we plan to produce this magnificent international event in Buckhannon, West Virginia.
And Randy, what part of the WAMSB event are you most looking forward to?
Well, I can't, it's a live event is always wonderful. So I would say the opening and closing ceremonies, parades, the competitions themselves. While I'll enjoy the different exhibits that'll be going on throughout the area, I'll leave that to some of the other folks. I'll probably be more focused on making sure that if we do some live streaming, that everything starts on time. I'm a real stickler when it comes to starting on time and making sure that our programming is concise and tight, well rehearsed. So I'm concerned with all of it, but I think once we hit the field at West Virginia Wesleyan College and we go live, whether it be a live stream or just live there in the stadium, that's going to be my big thrill.
Right, because you'll have viewers all over the world, not just here in West Virginia and the U.S., all over the place.
Correct. Yes, we're working on live streaming plans as well, coming in closer to the event. And, again, WAMSB is really, really popular in South America, in Canada, European countries. It's not as big and not as well known in the United States. We're trying to get the identity out there more, but we will have viewers from all over the world focused in on Buckhannon, West Virginia that week. So we'll be doing some packaging with videos of the area as well, and really just trying to promote our area as much as possible so that we can maybe get some long-term economic benefit from this.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned about promoting the area in West Virginia. I was on WAMSB's website earlier where it talks a little bit about the tourism aspect, and it talks about zip lining and how we have trails here, ATV trails and other outdoor activities, whitewater rafting. What do you think people from all over the world might be looking forward to most, and what are you promoting to those individuals who maybe have never been to the U.S.?
We're going to work with each band individually and see what their schedule will allow. We've already had bands come in for site visits. Bands from Honduras, El Salvador, and the Bahamas have been to Buckhannon. They spent a week here, and we made sure that they saw some of the different resort areas. They saw some of the activities like the zip lining. We took them to the West Virginia Wildlife Center in southern Upshur County. We took them to Elkins, Randolph County, and showed them some of the museums there, and they were just thrilled with everything that we showed them. So we will work with every band individually to see what their schedule allows. And if they're able to extend their trips, we'll make sure they get to go to D.C., maybe New York City, see some of the areas that the United States has to offer as well, because this will be the first time many of them have ever been to the United States, much less West Virginia.
And Randy, what are the most important things for viewers here in West Virginia and Virginia to know about this event coming up next summer? What would you like them to know now for planning purposes looking ahead next year?
Well, I'd love for them to take advantage of our social media, WAMSB.com, WAMSB2023.com. They can follow our activities, but make plans to come to Buckhannon, West Virginia. We're going to be beefing up the infrastructure at the college to seat about 5,000 people. So there should be plenty of opportunities for folks to come up, see some of the international bands competing, participate in the event itself, and just be a part of this history.
All right, Randy, we have to take one more quick break. We'll be right back after this. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we've been talking about the WAMSB competition coming up next summer in Buckhannon and Upshur County. People from all over the world are going to come to West Virginia as part of the competition. There's going to be a parade, car show, so much more to enjoy next July. Joining me once again, Randy Sanders. He's been truly involved with this from the beginning of even having Buckhannon chosen as the location for the competition. So, Randy, what was the reaction from those in the area when they found out that Buckhannon was chosen out of all the places in the world it could be held? It's Buckhannon, West Virginia.
Exactly. It was thrilling. I have always been up for a challenge, and I have always been so proud of West Virginia that throughout my travels over the last 40 years, and I've just bragged about West Virginia, what we're capable of doing. So the folks that helped me put it together, I think a lot of them thought it was a bit of a long shot, and it was. But when we got that announcement, they were just thrilled, and the area has embraced this opportunity. I can't thank the people enough that have stepped forward to help us where we need the assistance. So we just have a good team working, and we have a good regional collaboration, and we want this to be a statewide event. We're actually the host country, so it's really a national event. But we really want West Virginia to benefit from this.
Well, that's a good point too. I'm sure you're expecting people to come in from, all over to watch the competitions as well. Where are you expecting folks to come in from, and are you targeting any specific states or areas for folks to come in and watch some of the events and competition?
We'll be doing a lot more marketing as we get a little bit closer, but it's unbelievable when I speak to some of the folks that live in Buckhannon now, who have planned their family trips. Instead of traveling, they're inviting their family members to come to Buckhannon, West Virginia, and stay with them so they can be a part of this in 2023. So I think we're going to have folks from all over the country, and of course, obviously all over the world with the competitors themselves. We're hoping that we'll have, some dignitaries, surprises. We're working on some surprises as well, as far as a few celebrities to come in and be a part of it. Nothing that we can announce yet, but we're working hard to just make this really something special for all that choose to participate in it.
Well, that would be great if Governor Justice and Baby Dog could maybe make an appearance.
Fingers crossed. That's right.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Maybe I'm sure the visitors would love to see Baby Dog. What else can folks expect as far as the competitions? Would those be open to anyone to watch?
Yes. Yes, the competitions, we will be selling tickets at a very modest price. We want to make sure that as many people can come in as possible, but we do have to raise the funds to pay for the expenses. As I said, we're going to make the infrastructure in Wesleyan, beef it up to the point where we can seat about 5,000 people, which means renting bleachers, and so that's quite a bit of a cost. But yes, they'll be able to participate, see things, and maybe see some practices. We may be able to put some exhibitions on for free, but we're just hoping that people take advantage and we fill those seats up and have a stadium full of fans of marching show bands.
Absolutely, and let's share the information if folks are interested in learning more. Maybe they're at home, they have their laptops in front of them, or if they want to grab a pen and paper, write this down. What is the website again, and is there a Facebook or social media pages that they could go to and learn more?
WAMSB2023.com, so it's WAMSB2023.com, and if you go to that website, then from there you will be able to click onto the other social media. We have a Facebook page, we have Twitter, we have all of the different bells and whistles with social media, but I would first start at WAMSB2023.com, and that'll take you into the virtual world of WAMSB 2023.
Okay, great. And you had mentioned that earlier when I asked you just how much work it takes to put together an event of this magnitude. Really, you have roughly a year to plan, but that year goes by quickly. So what's going on right now to prepare for all the folks coming here next summer?
Well, we have several volunteers who are busy as we speak, making calls, making connections, talking to potential sponsors, talking to the different governments and municipalities that we'll need to continue creating partnerships with. I'm also doing a site visit this week with our security team to walk pretty much every inch of West Virginia Wesleyan College so that we can start building and mapping where people will enter, exit, just know that campus inside and out. We have to really plan this event down to the minute, and that's what we're doing as we move forward. With less than 365 days we're down to about 350 days, I think. We have a countdown clock at one of our offices, and it's a little scary when you see the countdown clock.
Yeah, because that time does go by. Right, that time goes by quickly if you don't keep working every day. Let's also touch more on the economic impact. What does this mean for area restaurants and even hotels who would be having visitors come there eating and staying in those hotels? What does that mean to those business owners?
It's going to be make a huge impact economically in West Virginia. As I said, the folks that are coming in from around the world will be spending their dollars here for housing, for meals while they're here. The folks traveling with them will be, buying up souvenirs. Again, they're going to be filling up the rental cars, but the bus companies who rent touring buses will be very, very busy. The restaurants from north of Buckhannon, south of Buckhannon, east and west of Buckhannon, they're going to be very, very full. We're going to be utilizing catering companies all over the state. So really, it's going to be quite an economic boom for the state of West Virginia. Palm Springs estimates just brought in about a $1 million economic boom for them the week that they had it. So we're hoping to match that or exceed that in West Virginia.
Wow, yeah, that's a big economic gain for them, and that was Palm Springs, California?
Yes.
And when was that?
They're used to putting these type of events on. Palm Springs does this, these kind of events all the time. So, for them to be anxious and hopefully they want to host it again one day. So, we're working with them as well, taking any advice they may give us.
Right. And Randy, when was the event held in Palm Springs?
You know what? It was 4 or 5 years ago, and unfortunately I don't have that written down on a cheat sheet somewhere, but it was about 5 years ago, I believe, maybe 6 years ago. COVID had interrupted this competition for a couple of years, of course. So it's not been that long ago that Palm Springs hosted the event. So we can quickly check that on our website, though.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's interesting that, again, this is only the second time since the competition started in the 90s that it's being held in the U.S. and West Virginia was chosen out of all the places that were vying for that spot. So that's just incredible. Again, a huge gain for West Virginia.
Exactly. And we have I'll tell you one real quick story that I think is great. We're working with a band in Poland right now who has already accepted some refugees from Ukraine and let them fold into their band. And we're helping them find some instruments through an international collaboration. Hopefully those folks from Ukraine who have moved to Poland because of what's happening in their home country, they may end up making a trip to Buckhannon, West Virginia. That would be quite a story.
Yes, that would be quite a story, and definitely something that we'd be interested in reporting on as well. Well, Randy.
Well, we hope you're here too. We hope that, Melinda, we hope you come up and maybe do a segment in 2023 or even come beforehand and do some work.
We would love that. We'll definitely stay in touch, Randy, and we have just about 20 or 30 seconds left. Any concluding thoughts for our viewers this morning?
I want to thank everyone who has stepped up and helped us so far in putting this huge event together, and I look forward to working with many folks as well as I work across West Virginia and meet people and tell them the story about WAMSB 2023 in Buckhannon, West Virginia.
All right, Randy Sanders, thank you so much for joining us this morning from Buckhannon. We appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And that does it for this edition of In Focus. This show is about people and events in the two Virginias. If you have an idea for a segment or if you'd like to be interviewed, you can certainly send me an email. That's mzosh, M-Z-O-S-H @ WVVA.com. That does it for us. We hope you have a great day.